everybody, Westcoast Johnny, how's it going? So today I'm building a lat pull down bar. A friend of mine gave me the idea. He asked if I had the one from Vince's gym, and I do have a couple from Vince's gym. One goes like this, and then it goes way down, and your hands are way out here. It's pretty cool. But I want one. Oh, and I have another one. It goes straight across, and then it goes down a little bit, made by Hampton. And then I have one that goes straight across and then it goes up. Because believe it or not, the way you're supposed to pull that down is not like this at an angle or straight, but actually like this. That's what it's meant for, okay? But what I'm building today is one that's just straight. And let me show it to you. It's pretty cool. It's a 1-inch bar. It's solid. It's 38 inches long and it weighs, oh gosh, a good 10 pounds. So what we're going to do, I'm going to make a little loop right here so that we could attach it. And then for the handles, I think from here in about 10 inches or so, I'm going to wrap it in leather. And I'm going to use not a corset stitch, but one of my favorite stitches of all time. It's called the baseball stitch. So here's what I did. I cut a piece of metal. Let me show you. Well, first of all, I used my bender. See this? And I was able to bend this, and then I cut it right here. I put it in the vise, these clamps, and I just cut it off. There it is, okay? So now what we're going to do, we're going to put it, I have a mark, dead center, right there. See that orange mark? That's the dead center. So this is going to go something like this. So let me set it up. Okay, now here it is set up. It's just sitting here. The only thing holding it are these magnets. See that? But it's keeping everything straight. So we're going to go throw this on the welding table, and I'm going to weld those two pieces together. Okay, here's the setup. It's fairly simple. Now, I don't have to clamp onto my part. I could just clamp the table, because if this just is touching the table, it'll be grounded. But I always like to, if I can, hook onto my project. And then these are just sitting here with magnets, perfectly straight up and down. And the stronger magnet is just holding this from moving. So today I'm using my High-Nade 140D. It's a little welder. Let me show you. It's pretty cool. It goes up to 125 amps. See how far this sticks out? In welding, that's known as stick out. We want it about 1/2 inch. Okay. Let me show you what I did. Now these can come off. And there it is, welded perfectly. But see, it's just tack welded on. So now we're going to flip it on the other side, and we're going to tack weld the back side. Once we do that, then we can weld all the way around it. But it's very important, if you just start welding one side, it's going to distort it. The heat's going to do what's called distortion. And we don't want this to move. So now we're going to go ahead, throw a couple welds right here. So now we have one on this side and on this side. So now I'm just going to weld all the way around. Now it's welded all the way around. See it? So now I'm going to clean the weld up. We're going to cool this down. Just water.
Now I want to show you this handle I made. It's Vince Gironda's famous racing dive handle. And but what I want to show you is the grips. They spin, they're leather, they're beautiful. And I just made this one for myself. I make them for Robert Torres, who's the only one authorized to reproduce the handles.
Okay, here's the leather we're going to use. But what you got to do, this is probably the hardest part of the job. I had to figure out how much material the leather is going to need for the handle. If you cut it too big, it's not going to work. If you cut it too small, it's not going to work. So I measured it out. This is just a little piece to kind of show me how, if it works good, then I'll make bigger handle. Okay, so there it is. See that? Now I just got to burnish the ends. But now when we wrap this around like this, we can sew it and it's going to be perfect. It's going to be exactly for 1 inch metal. Okay, I got my metal piece in the vise. I just want to show you. Here's my leather. Now, you want to get it wet. It'll bend much easier. But let me show you how it's going to line up. See that? So when it's sewed, right, when it's stitched, see that? It's going to be perfect all the way down. And I get a lot of comments, oh, you make it look so easy. Well, you know what? This is easy. If you have some basic tools, anyone can do what I'm doing. So now that we know what this width is, we're going to go cut two pieces about, I don't know, 10 inches or so. And then we're going to go ahead and sew them on. We need this to guide the line for our stitches. We're going to need these little punches. And then today I'm going to use this brown thread. Now, like I said, all this is easy, but like any other project, it's just a bunch of steps. And you just got to take your time, do each step, and then you'll make a lot of progress.
Okay, now we're going to go outside. I have two pieces of leather. They're all measured the exact same size. I'm going to cut it with my utility knife.
Okay, now this next step has to be done just right. See this tool? You can adjust this back and forth. And I have it just about 3/16, a little over an 1/8 inch. And what you do, this runs along the side of the leather, and this makes a little mark in the leather. See that? Now see that? See that little line? It goes all the way down. So now that's going to be for our stitches. We're doing here, getting ready to. Okay, see that? Got the bottom, got the top. See that? So we're going to start punching our holes for our stitches. Okay, now here's how we make our holes. See those? I'm starting to punch them right now. I have this little tool that is for, for punching stitch holes. What you want to do, you want to start where you're just the same amount at the end as you are in between the stitches. You do some, and then instead of just trying to eyeball it, you want to put the last 2 or 3 back in the holes so you know you're lined up, and then punch. So let me show you. Okay, go like that. See that? It kind of goes through, not very well. But see what we're doing? We're keeping the line straight. See that? It's pretty easy. Okay, so I'm going to do that to both pieces. Now I'm going to kind of roll it a little bit. because that gets it ready to take shape. Okay, now see that? Now that's going to be much easier to sew together. See that? Because I don't have to fight with the leather. Now, one thing I'm going to do before I sew this together, I'm going to stain it really nice, like a kind of like a brown. I have like a brown leather dye. We're just going to clean it up a little bit. Okay, here's some leather dyes. I have yellow and I have, it's called Kova. It's like a brown color. Now, there's no science to this. You could do whatever you want. What I like is when there's kind of what they call a burst. You see it on guitars where it's darker and then it kind of fades lighter in the center. So we're going to do something like that. So the first thing you want to do, get the yellow, okay? Put the yellow everywhere. Okay, it doesn't look yellow yet, but it's getting there. Okay, we're going to leave this one alone. See that? There's like a yellow sheen to it. We're going to let this dry. Here's the other one. I still have to get it wet and punch all the holes in it and everything. But see the difference in color already? Okay, then we're going to do like an outline. Like an outline. They call it a tobacco burst on guitars. It's called a tobacco burst. Well, here's the two handles. Now, if you notice, this one's a little darker. That's just because it's wet. It's still a little damp. And getting the leather wet so that you could form it and work with it better, that's not my idea. Everybody does it in leather. They all know, to get the leather wet. So when these dry, this one's still a little wet, we're going to go ahead and put just a little bit of the brown around the edges, and then I'm going to go ahead and we're going to lace it and sew it up on here. So it's going to be kind of like this. It's going to look kind of like that. The handles, it's going to look really cool.
Now here what I'm doing, I'm chasing the hole that I made with a 1/16 inch drill bit. I saw somebody else do this, and it really, really helps get the needle through the hole better when it's time to do the stitching.
Okay, here's our piece, and here's our leather. And you can see it's a little brighter in the center. See that? It's like they call that a burst. I could use a little orange too, but that's okay. Now it's all over my skin, and this is actually skin. So because this is made to dye thick skin, I'm really wondering how I'm going to get that off my hands now. But anyways, if you can see light through every hole. See that? See the light? The light, that means the needle's going to go through because we drilled the 1/16 hole. See that all the way? So it's going to be a little easier. So I'm going to let this set up a little bit. I'm going to get it wet. We're going to wrap it around here, and we're going to use our dark brown thread. And we're going to do what's known as a baseball stitch. Go under. Okay. And you get your other needle, and you go over and under. Okay. You go. See that? We want to pull this tight like that. See, here's how our stitch is coming. See that? It's a little tricky at first. You got to go over and under with one needle, and then over and under and through with the other needle. Okay. You don't want to pull tight yet. You want to make sure you have a little bit so you can feed your needles through. And you pull it tight like that. See? each stitch, you want to pull it tight. See that? And we're just going to keep going.
Okay, I got one of the handles all finished, and here it is. I think it looks pretty cool, and it does look like a baseball.
So thank you for hanging out all day and working with me on this. This was a one-day project. We got it cut, welded, bent the piece, put some nice leather handles on with the baseball stitch. And I'm telling you, anybody can do this. See, I put the stitches on the bottom, so when I'm doing my lat pull downs, I don't really feel the stitches. And like I said, I have a couple of these that go down and some that go up. But I wanted a straight one that wasn't too wide, just about like as wide as my shoulders are. And like I always say, anybody can do this. You just got to do the steps. There's a lot of steps involved. So if anybody wants to make one of these and you have any questions, please leave a comment down below and I'll get back to you. All right, everybody, I'll talk to you soon.